Okay, I'm just going to be real with you guys. If I've learned anything from over a decade and a half of lucid dreaming, it's that a ton of people give up lucid dreaming really, really quickly. I'm talking not even a month of practice and someone just gives up. I'm talking sometimes not even like 3 or 4 attempts before someone gives up. The amount of people that I've spoken to who've said something like, "Oh, lucid dreaming, I tried that a couple of times but it didn't work out for me," and never went on to attempt any further, is just kind of a depressing statistic, really. Similarly, of the people who do stick with it, a lot of people have frankly quite unexciting results when they first get started. I'm talking like weeks and weeks between lucid dreams, attempting dream control techniques with zero success, dreams that fizzle out and end within seconds after getting lucid. It seems like for a really large number of people, the early lucid dreaming experience is just not as glamorous as we would like it to be. Now, there's no shame in that. I too had a pretty subpar start to lucid dreaming. In particular, in my case, the issue was with the duration of my lucid dreams. I had a fairly easy time getting lucid. It took me a while to get lucid consistently on a regular basis, but I had a fairly easy time getting lucid in the first place. But what I did not have a fairly easy time with was actually staying in those dreams. It took me years before I was able to consistently have long-lasting lucid dreams. Now, the good news is that you don't have to make the mistakes that most of us are making. You can avoid this, and you can actually have success with lucid dreaming right from the get-go. So let's actually break down a few of these beginner mistakes that are holding a lot of you guys back. Number 1 is giving up too soon. If your entire lucid dreaming history just looks like these isolated incidents where you do a couple of attempts before giving up completely and calling it quits, then of course your lucid dreaming journey is going to look a little bit rubbish overall. It's like if your goal was to make a lovely painting and you gave up after finishing the outline sketch every time. Of course you'd never have a nice painting to look at if you did that. Now, this doesn't mean bashing your head against the wall doing the same thing over and over and over if it's not working out for you. If you've been trying the technique for a month or two and you just haven't had any results with it, then make sure you troubleshoot and make sure you aren't doing something wrong with the technique, and if that doesn't work then try a different technique. But in general, don't just give up with lucid dreaming if you don't get the results you want right away. What I've observed in a lot of people is that they'll have an initial hurdle of some kind where it's difficult for them to get lucid regularly at first, but after they pass that hurdle and after they get lucid regularly for a bit, it's much easier for them to keep at that in the long run. The second mistake that I see a lot of beginners making is having poor dream recall. This one might shock some of you, but some people neglect what might be the most fundamental aspect of lucid dreaming, which is dream recall, the ability to actually remember the dreams that you have. Because believe it or not, you need to remember your lucid dreams too. Just because you know how to get lucid doesn't mean that you're actually going to remember those dreams if your dream recall is rubbish. And a lot of people think dream recall is just your ability to recall your dreams the following day. But the actual fact of it is that if you improve dream recall, things like dream stability and dream clarity will improve with it. There are so many people who will try technique after technique to get lucid but not actually keep any sort of dream journal, and then they'll still wonder why they're not having any lucid dreams when they can barely remember any of their regular dreams in the first place. If this is you, don't feel too bad. I get it. Sometimes we all get lazy with our dream journals, but if you're not getting lucid and you don't have great dream recall, that should be the very first thing that you address. That's why in my complete guide to lucid dreaming, the Lucid Dream book, I dedicate a whole chapter to the foundation that you should set up before even attempting any technique. And I have another chapter dedicated to the problems one faces when lucid dreaming. Because really, I wanted to help folks avoid the same struggles that I had during my early days. So I've condensed over a decade of experience lucid dreaming into some of the best advice and techniques that you can use. So that brings me to a segue to this video's sponsor, which is of course you guys. By getting a copy of the Lucid Dream book, you do not just level up your lucid dreaming experience, you also help support the channel and ensure that I can keep making videos like this one. If you're interested in getting a copy of it, you can go to gum.co/theluciddreambook, or you can click the link in the top right hand corner of the video right now. And if you use the code LUCID at checkout, you can get 15% off. Now, while I do hope that some of you folks are rushing on over to get your hands on the Lucid Dream book, rushing is something that you generally don't want to do in lucid dreaming. That is the next problem that we're going to discuss here. This one is especially problematic during the lucid dreams themselves, but some people have a tendency to rush. You get in your first lucid dream and you already want to do everything that you had hoped to do, all in that one single dream. You want to fly, you want to spawn characters, you want to go to a different location, you want to travel to the moon, you want to go underwater and experience what that's like. You want to do every single thing in one lucid dream, and you've not even had any lucid dreaming experience before, so you don't even know how you're going to do all of those things. So you end up rushing and doing things too quickly, and you can easily get yourself too excited doing this, and that in turn can just lead to you waking up prematurely before you've had a chance to do any of those things that you'd hoped to do. Rushing can also affect learning lucid dreaming induction techniques, as many people will rush to learn as many techniques as possible, but they will gloss over various steps of the techniques, not realizing that those steps are vitally important. I've lost count of the amount of times that I've spoken to someone that's been doing a technique that involves you waking yourself up in REM, and they've just completely missed that step and done it at the beginning of their sleep at the start of the night. Take your time. Lucid dreaming isn't going anywhere. Don't rush the process. Taking it slow and steady with meaningful intention, which is something we'll cover later in this video, will get you much better results than rushing. The fourth mistake or issue that I want to cover in this video is limiting beliefs. This is a really big one. Your beliefs affect the way that your lucid dreams get carried out. So many people develop limiting beliefs surrounding lucid dreaming, or they don't take into account existing limiting beliefs that they already have. As an example, if you try a technique a few times and it works none of those times, repeatedly trying the exact same technique over and over and over again, rather than trying something different, may in some cases prove fruitless because you've developed the expectation that this technique won't help you. This is especially true of dream control techniques, like techniques used to fly or stabilize the dream. I actually had this myself with dream stabilization. You might be aware of the technique where you rub your hands together to stabilize the dream. When I first started lucid dreaming, this was one of the first techniques I learned, and I used it and it worked for me. But I had a few dreams in a row where it just didn't work, and I can't explain why it didn't work for those dreams, if it's just because it's not the most consistent technique to begin with, or if it was just me having a bad day or what, but it didn't work for those few dreams. And after those few dreams, I started believing that the technique no longer worked and I couldn't stabilize my dreams. So whenever I tried to use it in future, it didn't work. To this day, rubbing my hands together is still one of the least effective techniques for me, just because I've built up that belief over time and time, repeatedly doing it over and over and over again, that it just doesn't work that well for me. And that very well may happen to you with a technique that is otherwise very valid. You may discover something that is a popular technique that for most people works most of the time, but you just have a bad run with it, and because of that bad run you develop the belief that it is not going to work for you. Changing that belief can help you make it work again, but in the meantime it's a good idea to explore other techniques, things that you can actually believe are going to work for you. And when it comes to those stubborn techniques that you don't believe are going to work, that you want to make yourself believe are going to work, you can work with things like reframing techniques from cognitive behavioral therapy to try and find the positive in when you've been using those techniques and reframe it in your head so that you stop viewing them in this negative light as this thing that's never going to work. If you guys would like to see this in a future video, I can actually do a video where I talk more about limiting beliefs and how to get past them when it comes to lucid dreaming. Let me know down in the comments below, or perhaps share one of the limiting beliefs that you've had at some point in your lucid dreaming journey. Now, last but not least, the fifth thing that I want to cover is not focusing enough on your intention. This might be a hot take, but I'm of the firm belief that a rubbish technique performed with very deliberate intention can produce better results with lucid dreaming than a perfect technique performed with half-assed, absent-minded attention and a lack of intention. I've made this mistake myself a few times when I've come back to lucid dreaming after a break. I will do all of my usual techniques, but I'll just be doing it kind of absent-mindedly because I've done this a million times before. I know what it's like getting back into lucid dreaming. I know that the lucid dreams are going to come with a little bit of effort and practice. So sometimes when I get back into it after a break, I can be a little bit lazy with it at first. And even though I'm doing all the right techniques, I don't have that intention. And what will happen is I'll get some lucid dreams, but kind of inconsistently. And then one day I will just be really in the mood to lucid dream. I will watch a bunch of videos of people sharing their dream stories. I will refresh myself on the techniques that I'm going to use. Even if it's a technique I've done a million times before, I will literally go back and watch one of my own guides on it just to refresh my memory. I will come up with a detailed plan for exactly how I'm going to lucid dream, and I will decide on the fact that I'm going to get lucid that night. And what happens, not only do I get lucid, but I start getting consistently lucid again because that intention has come back. suddenly just implementing intention can turn lackluster, mediocre results into amazing results. That's why I think for a lot of people, something as simple as the intention technique can be really great because it covers that most important step. So that's been 5 mistakes that a lot of beginners make when it comes to their lucid dreaming journeys. Try and avoid these things and you will have a much better start to your lucid dreaming adventure. Another thing you can do to improve your lucid dreaming adventure is to get your hands on the Lucid Dream book that I mentioned earlier. Once again, gum.co/the Lucid Dream book if you want to get your hands on it. Anyway, thank you for watching. If you want more videos like this one, make sure you subscribe and enable all notifications so you can stay up to date when my new videos come out. And if you want to keep watching, check out one of the videos on screen, go watch that and I'll see you there soon. Take care and have some awesome lucid dreams.